Wait. Oh. Are we in?
We're in.
Okay.
We're in.
Okay.
Welcome.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Courtside with Christy and Gabe right here on the Her Hoop Stats Podcast Network. I am Christy Winter-Scott, joined as always by my guy, Gabe Ibrahim. Gabe, listen, I'm surprised I have any voice whatsoever between Serena doing Serena things and GOAT things last night. A'ja Wilson doing GOAT things last night. Oh my God. Candace Parker. I mean, I was just like, I could not sleep. If you know me at all, I was like, oh my gosh, all over the place. I was flipping back and forth. Oh my God. Insanity. And shout out to all the iconic women who were balling out and doing their thing last night. Both games were amazing, and the tennis was just mind-blowing. Yeah, it was an amazing night for women.
It was. And you know what? So I cheated last night. So
you did? What'd you do?
I taped the beginning of the Serena match because I was still folding laundry. So I taped it. I watched that whole first thing until the game started. Until the who was it first? I think it was Vegas and Chicago.
Chicago
started first. So I watched it all until I got to like the end of the first set, and I was like, okay, Serena won the first set. Like I can chill. I'll be back later. Then I watched the Connecticut game on tape delay without the commercials. And then by the time that was over and decided, it was back in the third set for Serena. So I got to watch it all.
You got it all. I couldn't do it like that. I was like, commercial, flip back. Oh, what's the score? Okay, go back. I was like, man, I had to ice my thumb down because I was like this. But I loved it. It was just epic. It was awesome. So, no complaints here, but we both got them all in. So that's the good thing.
No, we got it all in, and we hope you guys got it all in too. But if not, we will recap as much as we can. But make sure you like the stream, comment, subscribe, do all those things. You may be watching this later, you may be listening to this on a podcast, but we love likes and comments and telling us what sounds good, what sounds different. We're in StreamYard now. We're doing this live. So welcome to everybody, and we hope you all are having a good time. Dano's here. He's saying we love all the sports, and he does. You can catch him on Spread the Floor.
All right.
But Christy, let's start with one of these series. I don't know which one. I want to start with Vegas and Seattle. Is that okay?
Oh, we're going to go long with it, though, because I'm good. Like, wherever you want to start, I'm there. Just wind me up, point me, and I'm gone. Let's go.
When I was watching A'ja Wilson put up monster numbers, 33 points. I'll put it on the screen now. 33 points, 13 rebounds, 12 of 18 from the field in game 2. One of my thoughts was like, man, I wonder if this is like how Christy played. Like get space, get a little face up, do a little ditty at the rim.
A little bit. I mean, she's 10 times stronger than me, or that I'll ever be. But I think mindset wise, yeah. I mean, her skill set, we're totally different. Totally different players. Plus, she's lefty, so there's that. But no, I just think her aggression and my aggression back in the day, I think we're very similar. I was more finesse, though. She has more power in her game. But I think the way that she was confident with who she was on the court last night, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I mean, I think beep a little bit. I mean, I was a little confident. I mean, I knew because I put the work in. I mean, I'll just say, I put the work in, right? In the gym, I was at Twin Branches over here, in shots and working in the backyard. Like, I was working out all the time, like getting shots. And, I think when you put the work in, it's not uncommon to you when you're playing in games. It's like, well, I've been here before. I've done this before. This is not something I'm nervous about. Like, if I'm nervous, I'm not prepared. So I think in the mindset scheme of things, I think there are some similarities, but physically, no. Like
not the face-up game.
I had to face-up game.
Rose DePaula, if you're listening, Maryland SID. Can you get me some tape of Christy?
No.
Someone has it. So I know someone has it. Someone has this tape. Please get me.
We don't need to see it. We don't need. I I was face up. I was face up. Vicky
Yeah.
Bullitt and I played together. So Vicky was down. You know, we had the high-low thing going. Okay. You know, when they doubled off of her, it was much like, you know, Shakira Austin reading off of Deladon.
Okay.
You know, she would get double or triple team. Then I'd be like, here I am at the high post and elbow, boom, and then take my little shot. That's how I was, you know, but I think in terms of power game, nah, I didn't. I mean, I had some up and unders, but I was quick, you know, getting my shot off. And, you know, I ran sprints with the guards. I mean, I could get up and down the floor a little bit. Then my kids don't believe me. They're like, Mom. And then Jordan will ask me all the time, Mom, run. And I'm like, I only run when it's raining and I don't have an umbrella. It's the only time you're going to see me run. But yeah, we need
the tape. But we have the tape on Asia. And it's thoroughly incredible because, you know, yeah, Vicky, she had to find someone on the triple team. In the last game, in game 1, Asia had to find people out of double teams and triple teams, and that's actually what probably won Seattle the game in the first game. Game 2, she's just like, I don't care. I'm okay. You send 3, I'm scoring anyways. I think Becky Hammon going to that small lineup really opened up the floor.
It really did.
So how did Asia get to her 33 points and get this win, really?
Well, first of all, she was aggressive. Second of all, I think she made great reads out of what was presented defensively. But I think that small lineup, like you said, really opened things up. But I think when she hit that 3 on the right side of the floor, I believe Jewell Loyd was guarding her. It doesn't matter who was guarding because she was going to take that shot regardless. I don't care who was in front of her. She was going to pull. And the fact that thing went in clean, I think I jumped up and I don't know if I yelled. It was like midnight. I don't know. I was like, oh my God, like that shot, that did it for me. Because when you can, you know, again, you put the work in, right? She had taken 2 threes in 3 seasons and now over 80 attempts this year. And just the confidence of the work that she has put in was shining through. So that's part of it. But I think Raquana Williams coming in, doing their small ball rotation. And I think what A'ja Wilson said after the game was very profound as well. She said, you know, we don't really run that small lineup a lot. So we were just kind of reading and reacting. And sometimes in the confusion of what we were doing, the chaos, I don't think she said confusion. She said in the chaos of having that small lineup, it threw the defense off.
For sure.
So they didn't know what reads to make against us or who to help off of because it was a different lineup than they were used to as well. So I think it was really good strategy by Becky Hammon to do that. And it wasn't like for long stretches. It was like, we're going to throw a big lineup. We're going to throw a small lineup. And then now you have to make the adjustments. And it kept Seattle at bay in that regard.
Yeah, no, I think it also, Rebecca Lobo brought up this point. I thought it was a really good one that the help coming in those situations was smaller, which is a much bigger deal. On that, in game 1, I thought Tina Charles actually did a great job of being the helper on Asia. And what Vegas did really took Tina out of the paint, moved her around and got matchups on like Stephanie Talbot, like you're saying, Jewell Loyd. So it really was a great adjustment from Vegas. Also, just ball bounces your way a little bit more. You know, I think when you lose a 3-point game on one end and then you win, what was this, a 5-point game on the other? It kind of shows how even this series is. So, I mean, a couple bounces their way, but absolutely Asia was being the aggressor. I'm interested to see how that small lineup plays out. If Dearica Hamby comes back, I think it's more feasible. I think next game, Seattle will be more prepared for it, and they'll have a better plan for it.
Absolutely. I mean, she was listed as questionable, and I saw Becky Hammon in her pregame comments. I believe someone asked her, so she's listed as questionable. What does that mean? She was like, questionable. That was a great answer, by the way. Love Becky Hammon. But she said, you know, we'll see if we need her. We may throw her out there. We may wait until, you know, we get to Seattle to see what that looks like. But I think, I mean, when you can mix things up now and then throw Hamby in for game 3 possibly, or game 4, because they have 2 games out there, I think that'll be really intriguing to see what that does. You know, obviously they'll get more rebounds. I think another key for Vegas was their ability to get to the free throw line. I believe they got to the line 23 times. And I mean, that's a big difference maker as well. In a 2-possession game, you want to maximize possessions from the free throw line. And I think that's what Las Vegas did. I believe Seattle got to the line 11 times. Is that right?
I have it in front of me. Yep. 11 times.
Yeah. So, I mean, in a 5-point game, and you can get to the line that many times, that makes a difference. I mean, imagine if Vegas only got to the line once on a fast break layup that someone got an and one on, and they had to call it. I mean, I'm speaking from experience. I'm sorry. I digress. I'm going to bring myself back. But anyway, that happened. And so, you know, when you're used to averaging like 20 attempts or 18 attempts at least from the free throw line, and you get like one, I mean, it makes a difference in a 2-possession game, which that game was that I'm referring to back in the day. So anyway, but yeah, it's just interesting how things shake out. But I think that's got to be a big percentage of your offense, is maximizing your attack points offensively in the quarter court, getting into that paint and drawing contact. And there was a lot of contact last night. Did you see a lot of contact in there, especially on Wilson. Like Wilson and Charles a couple times were like,
Wilson could have gone to the line, I don't know, 10 more times. I saw Tina got an elbow, or wait, what game was that? Then I may be thinking about the other game, because the other series is also physical. All kinds of physical over there. But this series is definitely just super physical, wrestle and play a little bit. But like you're mentioning, I think Vegas forced the foul calls enough that it was, we're on a shot. Like, you can't not give me this foul. I think those are type of things, like, you know, kind of jump when you try to force contact and draw contact. There's gonna be a lot of times the ref is just gonna say, "Hey, I'm not calling that because I don't have to." Right? You gave me a way out.
Yeah.
Vegas did not give him a way out, and that's why the free throw rate was 35.9%, which is pretty crazy.
That's a big difference. And Plum got tagged too a couple times.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of like what you were saying, like she's getting into the bodies.
Yeah.
But I thought sometimes like there was some breaking of the plane on some shots.
For sure.
Drives, like she was driving hard to the rack. Yeah. Okay. But it was a physical game both ways. And I think, you know, Bird, I think she was upset. You know, she said somebody pushed her when she was trying to get to the basket. I mean, it was physical.
That was the time she was yelling at Kelsey Plum.
She was. They were going back and forth. Like,
that was really funny.
Yeah, it got saucy for a minute. But I mean, they're competitive, man. This is like, you know, your championship aspirations are on the line right now, and every possession counts. Every possession matters. So you gotta do it.
Yeah, no,
singing a song. Sorry.
I think, and then going back to just like the one big adjustment. Obviously, there's a ton of little adjustments in this game. I haven't rewatched it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But the biggest adjustment was obviously going to that small lineup, which opens up everything for everyone. You know, now we're playing either. I mean, and Kia Stokes still play a lot, and they play pretty well with Kia Stokes on the floor. I just thought, you know, having that change up to throw in there and throw Seattle off created a lot of room for players to get to the rim and get foul shots, and that was, as you mentioned, the single biggest difference from game 1 to game 2.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be really interesting to see how that plays out when we go back to Seattle.
Yeah.
Because I think in game 1, there was very few free throws. I think both teams got to the line 11 times.
Right.
And so it was like a 22 free throw game. So when you have that, obviously, I think that benefits Seattle. I think if you're going on the road, it'd be hard to expect calls. So I think there's still some more, changing for Vegas. They're going to have to adapt more. And obviously, Seattle's going to continue to adapt. I'm really excited to see those little adjustments in this series. One player, I want to talk about just one quick matchup that I think has been amazing. Chelsea Gray and Jewell Loyd.
Yes.
Some of the things that these two are doing are absolutely jaw-dropping. And we haven't talked a lot about game 1, and we can get into game 1 if you want to.
Sure.
But in the end of game 1, it really felt like it was Chelsea Gray versus Jewell Loyd. They weren't necessarily guarding each other the entire time, but it felt like it was a one-on-one matchup late in that game.
Right.
In game 2, Chelsea made all of the shots when it mattered. You know, it was like when Vegas needed a run, when Vegas needed a basket to get over a hump or whatever, it was always Chelsea Gray. Yeah. I've been so impressed with these two, and I just think getting this matchup is so incredible because we've needed more of this matchup of Gray and Loyd, two of the best guards in the league. We haven't seen them as much in the playoffs as we'd like to.
Right.
This has been amazing, lived up to the hype for me.
Oh my God. Can I just want to stay with Chelsea Gray for a couple seconds here because my Lord, like her shot making ability and her playmaking ability, just top shelf. I mean, amazing. I mean, that one pass she threw, it's a Plum underneath and Plum got the reverse. I lost it on that too. I was just like, I mean, just the excitement. And also it's packed in there. Yeah. I mean, it's sold out. Like they just have this atmosphere that Seattle's going to have too, when they go there. And they've been great at home all season long, and in the playoffs against Washington in the first round. But Chelsea Gray, I think her ability to set the table for the team is understated. I don't think we talk about it enough. I don't think we talk about the ability for her to create jump balls. How many jump balls did she get? She had like 4 jump balls just for her. Like, because she got in there and dug in, 2 hands on the basketball and jump it up. And
Ruco said it was 4, and that at the last one I saw it was 4.
Was it 4?
It was at least 4.
Who does that? I mean, if you can get 1 like that, you're like, oh, that's good hustle. Like, if you're coaching, like, okay, good job. No. You got 1, but she got 4 of them. And on the other side of the floor, she was making shots. Her step back was vicious. She was setting up Plum on the no looks, like just amazing floor game, and the efficiency of what she was doing on both sides. And that stands out for me. Without that, clearly a different team, but obviously with Wilson dropping 33 points and 13 boards. I mean, obviously, she was the one last night, but Gray, man, I'm telling you, she's the X factor for the Las Vegas Aces. And Jewell Loyd, what was she, 2 for 10 last night?
She had a rough night.
Very well. But she can get hot. I mean, she's had slow starts in the playoffs across, like, from game 1 of series 1 against the Mystics. She's had slow starts and she's come along. But this game, again, a couple slow starts, but then she just couldn't get, turned over in terms of getting her shots to fall. But I mean, she's amazing. I mean, she's just a flat out baller. So.
No, I think so. Jewell, like you mentioned, slow starts for Jewell, but fast finishes, right? Like she knows her role on this team is really to play off Stewart for the first 3 quarters. And then when she's needed at the end of the game, to play off herself and get her own buckets. And I think her and Stewie have, mastered this dance of, hey, you're gonna dominate. But when it's game time, when it's closing time, I want the ball. I think those two have really figured out a way to coexist in that space, and that's not easy. No. But Jewell in game 1, unbelievable shot making, unbelievable playmaking.
Crazy.
The way she saw the game was ridiculous, and then just to bury the shots that she could. And then as Dano commented, Gray's increase in shot volume in the playoffs was insane. And it has been. And she was ramping up. You could tell in the end of the season, there are some games where she took a bunch of shots. And then she's really ramped it up in the playoffs. Here's my question though. And we've actually done this dance before with Courtney Vandersloot instead of Jewell Loyd. If you recall our great point guard debate back in the day, I think it was in 2020. Who do you want taking the last shot between Chelsea Gray and Jewell Loyd?
I mean, I'm in a what have you done for me lately situation. Okay. So I'm going with Gray. I mean, she was the most efficient most recently last night. So, and that's no shade to Jewell Loyd, because I flat out love that kid and have since Notre Dame. So, I mean, I just think that, today, if they played today and it came down to it, which one would I want taking that shot today? I would say Chelsea Gray.
Okay.
And just because, and most of that is because of her facial expressions too, because you can tell she just wants it, man. And then after the game, she said, this isn't, some light switch we just turned on for the playoffs. Like, we've been playing like this all season long. Like, we prepared for this before our first game mentally. So now we're just like, we're in it. And this is not something that's a knee-jerk reaction. Oh, it's time for the playoffs. Now we got to do something different. Now we have to play a different way. Now our mentality has to be, recreated. No, it doesn't. Like, they've been, like you said, they've been on cruise control, understanding who they are and who they want to be. And it's showing up right now in the playoffs as they even the series to 1-1.
Yeah, I think it'll continue to, and especially Gray's performance. I don't think that's going anywhere. I mean, we've seen her do this in the playoffs before. It's nothing new. I wanted to say something. I totally forgot. Oh yeah, you called Jewell Loyd a kid, which is funny because.
Oh,
I know. It's funny.
I call everybody a kid.
Also, I always forget. Jewell Loyd's only 28. Jewell Loyd's my age.
Kids. She's kids.
Jewell
kids.
Loyd's my age, and she has been in the WNBA for 8 years now. Is this her
Wow,
8th
it
year?
doesn't seem right.
7th? Because she came in 2015, so this is her 7th season.
That's insane. But I mean, yeah, but I say kid for player all the time.
I know.
It's an endearing situation, not for it has nothing to do with her maturity, nothing to do with anything like that. It's just my vernacular.
No, just
as a coach, I'm like, kid, all the coaches out there, you hear me. All the coaches out there, they say it too. Men, women's basketball, everybody says that. So stop.
It freaks me out though, because I just noticed, like, when you said that, I was like, man, Jewell Loyd has to be like, 30. Like that's she's old. No, she's not. She's my age, and she's a 2-time WNBA champion, Rookie of the Year, 4-time WNBA All-Star, All WNBA first team in 2021, All WNBA second team in 2016, All Rookie team 2015, Commissioner's Cup champion as well,
and gold medalist.
And she has 4 gold medals, one from the senior Olympic team, but she also has a World Cup, a World Championship, and the 3-on-3.
A winner. The kid's a winner.
The kid is a winner. I host this podcast. We're on the similar track. Right, on a similar track, Jewell Loyd.
I'll post it, man.
And myself. Yeah, Miles says Gabe's a baby. I'm not a baby. I'm a big boy.
Kid. They're kids.
Okay. Do we have anything else on this guy? I do want to mention the offensive rebounding.
Yes.
I thought it was big for Seattle in game 1. 7 offensive rebounds. Let me see. 5 second chance points. In a 3-point game, those little things on the margins make differences.
Of course.
In game 2, Seattle had 2 offensive rebounds, 4 second chance points on the other side. Las Vegas had 11, whereas they had 0 in the first game.
So first game.
It was huge, and it's interesting that they were able to do that with when they were playing a smaller lineup. Typically, you expect Stokes to be more active on the boards, but I thought that was pretty big, and I think that could be something to watch throughout the series as like just a little sign of where these teams are going.
Yeah. Oh, it was a major deal. I mean, if you can manufacture 11 second chance points the same way, it's like the free throw line, those gimme things, those things where you attack and get rewarded, go to the line, but you also attack the offensive glass and get rewarded, by getting those second chance shots put back up. And I don't know how you watch the game, but especially for rebounds, but I think if you go back and look at A'ja Wilson in particular, a couple times, and shots were going up, and she was like a heat-seeking missile, weaving in and out to get herself in position to get to the glass. And I just thought that was amazing. Like one time she just came flying, untouched, came flying in there. Everyone's ball watching, and she came flying in, got it, put it back up. I was like, first of all, where did she come from? Second of all, that's masterful, in terms of her ability and skill and awareness to be able to find those nooks and crannies in the paint that's all jammed and congested, but somehow, some way, you're going to go get that ball. And again, it wasn't just the aggression offensively for Wilson, which was on point, but that kind of thing, right? Getting yourself to the glass. And I think that maximized, obviously, possessions for the Las Vegas Aces. But in a 5-point game, again, those are stats that you circle, those hustle plays and the ability to get to the line, the ability to get to the glass and finish. Like she wasn't getting in there and smoking the layups. Like she got in there and finished, got tagged. And sometimes you get to the line because you crash like that because people aren't in position to defend.
Well, and I'm looking at while you're talking, I looked up who else had offensive rebounds because, as you mentioned, A'ja had 3.
Okay.
Raquana Williams also had 3.
She's got bunnies, man.
And it was a lot. I just watched them. A'ja really boxing out, and the whole Seattle team having to crunch down on her because she has either Stephanie Talbot on her or Jewell Loyd or someone, and then that ball squirting out to Raquana Williams. And I think the other thing you touched on is just capitalizing on those situations, getting the offensive rebounds and getting 11 second chance points. They had 7 offensive rebounds and they had 6 more. Both teams had 7 offensive rebounds in their respective wins.
Okay.
And Aces at 6 more points, right? So just capitalizing on those mistakes, understanding the situation of like, this is a key moment. Like you just mentioned, offensive rebounds are key moments. Getting to the free throw line, those can be key moments. I think the Aces took the lead at the free throw line.
Yep.
Those are huge moments in the game where you can say, hey, we got this possession. Hey, we turned them over. We got an easy bucket. Like those things really change your mentality. And
Yep.
so to capitalize on all of those second chance opportunities was huge, I
Yep.
think, for the Aces and just a really great team win. And then you look at the turnovers. Man, how happy does this series make you as a coach? Just the turnovers are so low. Nine Las Vegas turnovers to Seattle 7.
I mean, there's a reason that these two teams, battling each other, because they're very clean when it comes to taking good care of the basketball. And, and a lot of those turnovers weren't live balls. So a lot of them are just, I remember Raquana Williams driving and mishandle it on the baseline or whatever. Like there were just some little miscues like that. The one at the end, Jackie Young trying to save it, try to get a timeout, which I don't know. I would like to see different angles of that. Her foot was
she almost got it. I know we only got the one angle, but I thought it was
I wanted to see, multiple angles of that. But anyway, it just plays like that. So it wasn't like live ball situations where it, turned into, a bucket full or a bushel full of buckets for the other team off of live ball situations. So yeah, I mean, you'd love to see that as a coach. Like anything under 12, I'm happy if you don't have those. And if they are 12, you want at least more than half of them. You want them to just be miscues.
Right.
You don't want them to be, throwing them in and no one can defend.
Yeah, no. Dead ball are better. Go out of bounds if you're going to turn it over, guys.
It's still frustrating though. So I mean, it's still like,
don't make a habit of it.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, that one time is good.
Both these teams have been very, very careful with the ball. It's made for a clean series. And not a lot of fouls in that game. One more fouls in game 2, but it wasn't careless fouls, and that's what I think makes people mad. It's like I don't want to see careless fouls. I want to see good fouls on players going to the rim. Hi, Braden. Hi, Braden.
Oh, hey.
Hi, friends. Hello. All right.
Hello.
Do we have anything else in the series? I think we kind of touched. I mean, I want to see Jackie Young do a little better in her shooting. 1 of 9. That's not good.
Yeah,
but
her and Jewell Loyd, those two, even with them not being efficient offensively, still, I mean, I think they're key components, key pieces. I thought Jackie Young's defense was tough. I thought she did other things. Sometimes your shot's not falling, but what else are you doing to help the team? I mean, Brianna Stewart, 32 points. I mean, she was.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Stewart enough. I'm sorry. We should talk. Wait. We gotta talk about Stewart. We gotta talk about Stewart. The pull-up's unstoppable. Like I know they were joking about this in the broadcast. The pull-up's unstoppable. There's not a player. I mean, Asia, defensive player of the year. We'll talk about that later. But she couldn't stop it. She wasn't stopping that jumper either.
She's just long. What does she have? A 7'1" wingspan?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, how are you gonna? And even if you're right there, it's like you're gonna close out here, and she still has a release point because her arms are so long. It's like not much you can do other than disrupt her catch, and then try to disrupt her footwork as she's trying to get into that. But man, I don't know if I had secret sauce on that, she wouldn't be getting those shots.
She just like it's not even. It's also like. She uses her length, like the ball's up here.
She's up here, yeah.
Very, very old school, I would say. Release from Stewart, and it just gets over everyone, and she's just been unstoppable. I mean,
release is quick.
It's almost to the point where in like we just did. Like I almost just kind of forget about her in the analysis. I'm like, yeah, Stewie's going to put up close to 25. That's just a baked in sort of thing. You don't have to worry about it coming every single game. And I think it's happened in every single game so far in these playoffs, maybe game 2, when the Mystics really sold out to stop her, but she's just been dominant, unstoppable.
Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about, and that's the thing, it's like, I mean, going back to Diana Taurasi just for 2 seconds here, like she has 1 WNBA MVP. The late great Kobe Bryant won MVP in the NBA in his 20 years. Okay. And Taurasi's almost at that, right? At that marker. But when you're looking at players like that, who are steadily consistent and efficient, it's like, that's like what you said. That's what you expect. That's what they do. That's what they do. But when you have players who are maturing and improving all the time, you know, sometimes you recognize that more, like, oh wow, it came out of nowhere, like, oh wow, look at this player and look at this kid, you know. So it kind of draws your attention away from the consistency, and sometimes that can get lost, and I don't know why, but or what kind of human mental factor that is, that consistency gets taken down more than it gets lifted up. I don't understand that.
I think you just get it blends in, you know, it kind of blends into the wall
But that's
of the
not fair
series.
for those.
No, it's not.
Consistency, this is the hardest thing to be, is consistent. I mean, I don't care if you're playing basketball, if you're a construction worker, like you have to, every day you've got to come in and be consistent in your role. And that's the hardest challenge sometimes, as you see. Like that's why I'm saying it, because you know, you just it goes understated, the value of being consistent. And I think it should be rewarded more.
Well, and in this playoffs, I'm gonna try to look up some quick stats here as we talk.
Okay.
Brianna Stewart has had 20 plus points in every single game. She has also done it on 40% shooting, at least in every single game.
I'm mad at it.
So let's see. Let me check the her hoops. This is gonna be way too hard to do on air. There's been a lot of players have done this. I just can't figure out how to do it on the, like, with the dates to see if it's consecutive or in the same playoff run.
I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you what. I mean, you can get, you know, 20 a game every night for the rest of your life, and it still won't be. You know, there's people still say like, well, you know,
yeah,
there's still something else that she's not doing. Oh God, sorry.
Oh no, we have a crash.
Oh, that was totally me. I'm sorry.
That's what happens when you don't praise Brianna Stewart's consistency.
Oh my God. I'm
We're
okay.
Good. We had a crash.
Fine. I have my charger plugged in there, and I hit it with my knee. Anyway, long legs, long arms, and I talk with my hands in. So yeah.
Well, we gotta mention one more thing with this series, because I think Tina Charles like kind of won game one for Seattle.
Yeah,
she was incredible.
She was.
And on both ends, one of her best games, not only this year, but maybe in the past few years. And she's had some really great ones. So it was just one of her best games I think we've seen recently. So she won basically game one, had a big game two. What have you seen from Tina in this series so far?
I mean, in game one, what was it? 16 rebounds. I mean, that was the difference maker for Seattle to get that win. I think the possessions that she was able to
5 offensive.
How many?
5 offensive rebounds. I
mean, that's work. That's work, you know? And again, I mean, you know that she can score the ball, but she even said after the game, I was watching the post-game pressers, and she even said, you know, I didn't shoot the ball particularly well, you know, last night. She said that. And, you know, they're going to need for her to do that, especially if Jewell Loyd is not hitting her shots, you know, at 20% for her last night. I think, you know, with the addition of Tina Charles, they've been a totally different team, and their ability to defend and rebound because of her presence in there has been different. And I just think that she's a huge factor. And I read that article too, that ESPN had out after game one, and how she said that it's not going to define her whether or not she wins a title, but that doesn't mean she doesn't want one. Okay. It does not mean that Tina doesn't want a ring. Okay. So I'm like, I said that out loud when I read it. I was like, but you still want the ring. Like, right. But still want, like, that doesn't discredit your passion and your fight to get one. So, but I just thought it was an interesting read, just her whole, you know, last couple of seasons, you know, in DC and then in Phoenix and then now in Seattle. So, just an interesting road to get there.
She gave them a lot of optionality too. I think something that when this move happened, we were concerned about her taking starting spot. She absolutely earned the starting spot. Right. She played great defense too. She really, honestly, it was a game where I was like, man, Tina is doing everything she needs to as a role player, which is interesting because that's been something that not only Tina, but a lot of star players struggle with, coming down to being a more of a role player, more of a do a little things player, more of a cut to the basket rather than dribble to the basket type of player. Right. I think she's made a huge change in that regard and has been huge in this series. Not only the offensive rebounds, but the defense of being able to stand up to Asia Wilson, often being able to get pokes, being able to help at the rim. Huge in that game one. Certainly, I think a part of the reason why Las Vegas had to adjust in game two was because of Tina Charles.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
shouts to her. All right. We should probably move on. We should probably move on. But if you have more things, we're ready to go on Seattle and Vegas.
No, we're good. I think I'm good for the moment anyway, but you never know, things pop in.
Well, we're gonna be talking here for a little bit about this series because we get it for 5 games. Also, just while we're here, I do want to mention the playoff structure much better this year. Just much better. Like it feels like real playoffs. Like every team who has gotten to this point had to do something in the first round.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan of this.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I think it's the challenge of it, and I think if you're any kind of competitor or any kind of competitive fan, which every fan is competitive, right? I mean, we saw the packed house last night. We're going to see more packed houses moving forward throughout the playoffs, which is fantastic. But I think, that's what you want. You want to see what teams do when their backs are against the wall. You want to see, like in this game 2, which both teams rectified themselves and got the win. So, I mean, that's the spirit of sport. That's why we watch. That's why it's unpredictable in that way. But when you bring your best, like Vegas did, like Chicago did, I mean, that's what it's all about. And you want to see that. Yeah, we want to see 5 games. We want to see 7 games.
Yeah, we want to see 7. It's not perfect.
We'll hold on to 5 right now because we'll take 5.
I want 5 in the first round too, though. That would be really.
5 in the first round would be legit.
5 in the first round.
We'll get it. We're moving there. We're getting there.
This year, though, really feels like I don't know. Last year, just all those first round series just felt like it was like preamble, but then also, so it kind of felt like a little irrelevant, but it also felt like a big deal because those other 2 teams in the semifinals weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
So I think it was like somewhat of I don't know. It's just somewhat of a different feel, and I think it has made the basketball much better.
Yeah, agreed. And I think, when Vegas played Phoenix and they had 2 blowout games, right? Or not blowouts, but like big wins, like double-digit victories, especially in game 2 for them against the Mercury. I think what Becky Hammond said, I can't remember who was saying that though. It was one of the teams after the fact was asked like, hey, you had to battle. I think they were asking James Wade, you guys had to battle out, New York in the first round. And how did that prepare you, or what did that do? Because those games were very close and you had to fight and all that. I don't know. I just think that it's when you have games where you don't have to battle like that. And maybe the question was to Becky Hammond, it's like, well, they had 2 big wins and you didn't have to like fight it out, fight. So sometimes that changes your mentality going into the next round. Like you think it's going to be that easy every time. And it's like, no, like you have to scratch and claw and battle, and compete with that fire and passion. So
no, I think it, just also just understanding how to prep between games as a coaching staff. Cause yes, all these coaches have been there, but it's different when you have a different coaching staff every year, right? I feel like it's a little different to go through the process of the playoffs. Yeah. And so to get in the first round where you have a little taste of it just makes the second round that much better. And I think that's what we're seeing. And these teams are just also awesome. Like this is a perfect second round for this season. Let's talk about the rest of it though. Let's talk about Chicago and Connecticut. So Chicago tied up the series last night, but I think it's a little stunning that they had to tie up the series. I didn't see that coming in game 1 from Connecticut. What have been your big takeaways so far in this series?
Well, I think number 1, Candace Parker. I mean, my God, man.
I'll put her line.
I mean, come on. That's where we're going to start this conversation and finish it. But
we'll have to come back to it. Yes, but yes,
we're definitely going. We're going to start there. We're going to talk about other things. We're going to finish again, just because Candace Parker right now is playing free-minded basketball, and that's dangerous, right? I mean, she has, she's got all these accolades. She's got championships under her belt. She's back in her hometown, won championship last year. I mean, game 1 was like, look at those stats right there. You have them laid out. 6 blocks. Like,
19 points, 18 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 blocks, 4 steals.
Oh my God. But that one block, she rotated over and just sent it. I'm like, come on.
The
Come
one
on.
steal, there was a steal
Phenomenal.
where she came around the body of Bree Jones. I don't know if you've seen Brianna Jones.
Yeah.
She is
She's
strong. She's very strong. It takes a lot to get around her. And Candace just poked that. Oh man.
Yeah. It's this part, man. I'm telling you, it's here. It's between the ears with Candace Parker. You can see it all over her face. You hear it every time she speaks. But most importantly, you see it the way that she's playing. I mean, she's just flat out dominating on both sides. I mean, who has 19 and 18? Like, I mean,
with the 6 blocks.
That's insanity. And then, of course, they're going to try to come back and combat what she did in game 1 and game 2. But Chicago gets the win then, because she's able to pick you apart. I mean, she's a point forward in my mind. Like, she sees things unfolding before anyone else on the court. I mean, all other 9 players. I mean, maybe Courtney Vandersloot is right there because she's. Yeah. But I just like everyone else is seeing it in a different way and maybe a beat later than Parker and Sloot.
Yeah.
To me, like they see things unfolding. I mean, that bounce pass on the baseline that Parker had. Come on. I mean, it was just perfectly placed. That's why I call her point forward. But she loves the game. She's playing free-minded basketball and. Chicago's on a mission to repeat. And she's a big reason why, mentally, that this team was able to even the series.
No, it's been unbelievable. I mean, some of the best basketball you'll ever see, period. Flat out. I don't care that she lost game 1. That doesn't matter to me. Some of the best 2 basketball games you're ever going to see from Candace Parker, especially that game 1. Shame that she did not win it. I wish she did. Not because I care about the Sky winning or anything, just like for basketball. As Chiquita said, Candace Parker can do everything. Thanks for everyone hanging out with us in the stream. We appreciate it. Braden, Tiger, Chiquita, Jessica.
Hey, babies.
I don't know if Miles and Dana are still here. They may have had to go do other things. No, but I mean, can't. And then game 2, let me give her credit in game 2. I mean, ho hum, right? 22 points, 4 rebounds, only 4 assists, only 3 blocks, only 1 steal. She's been magnificent, but I definitely think in game 2 she was playing more of what she wants to do. She's looking for her own shot, and she's going to be the player that takes those toughies. For Chicago, I think she's and not that they don't have other options. They do. They certainly have other options to take tough shots, but I think Candace is the one that they're turning to late in the shot clock pretty much every time.
Yeah.
But she also just got to play a little bit more off her teammates because her teammates were making shots. And Emma had a big bounce back game too. Everyone can't. Courtney Vandersloot put the ball in the basket a little bit. Not that she needs to do that a ton because she runs the offense so efficiently. Yeah. But getting her to put some shots in the basket, get 10 points is much better than having 5 points. Allie Quigley, much more efficient. I think it was just a much more well-rounded effort from Chicago. And I felt much better about them after game 2 than I think I feel about any team currently left. I think I have the most confidence in them. Do you think, do you agree with me?
I agree. I mean, I think, they were taken aback in game 1 a little bit because Connecticut came out like gangbusters and really tried to prove themselves. And they did that with the win. But again, consistency.
Yeah.
You gotta be consistent with that. If that's what you want for your team, then you got to bring it every game. And that's the challenge of the playoffs, right? To come and replicate what worked well, even with adjustments being made by your opponent. Like you still have to, it doesn't matter. I always say it doesn't matter who you're playing. It matters how you're playing. Like, are you playing to the standard that you set for the team? And if that's not the case, then you're in trouble. Because I don't care what the other team, like we were talking about that before, like in our last show last week about, hey, when you have, you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to have all these changes and adjustments, but you might have a tweak here, a tweak there throughout a series when you're seeing the same team every couple days. And you're not going to go in and play the same way or do the same things. You're going to make little tweaks, but you have to be ready for that. And you have to be flexible in your mentality and your approach. And that starts with the coaches, right? I mean, you have to be flexible minded as coaches. You have to be able to throw things in. You trust your team with it. You have covered in practice,
Yes.
right? I mean, sometimes for me as a coach, sometimes we threw things in there. Well, we never practiced it, but you can make tweaks in the game, and make it work. And it worked out most times like that because your team trusts you too, right? Yep. Coaches trust that you will understand and comprehend what's expected. This is what we need right now to win. If you want to win, you're going to buy in and do it. Okay. Yep. But it works both ways, right? Yep. Players have to trust coaches' decisions, and the coaches obviously have to trust that the players have bought in to expectations. And that's what wins it for you in the playoffs.
And I think it's super interesting too that the two teams that won, the two teams that we're perceiving as adjusted to win. Also, there's kind of a good argument that that's not true, like that the teams are just kind of even, and that most games are a coin flip, and none of this actually matters, and we're just meaningless specks flying on a rock through space. But if we're not taking that viewpoint and trying to account for losing bias, I think the two teams that adjusted to win really opened up the floodgates of their offense, right? That's two things you mentioned, right? The teams play within themselves, and they found more things in the flow of their offense. It wasn't adding in a bunch of sets. It wasn't adding in, a bunch of new things like you're saying. But it is about just trying to alleviate the pressures, the pressure points that the defense is putting on you, right? So for Vegas, it was Kia Stokes was a player that Seattle was helping off of. Well, let's just take Kia out of the equation for a little bit, and we'll see what happens. And it worked out, right?
Worked. For
Chicago, I mean, I don't even think it was for Chicago. I'm not sure there was much adjustment. It was just, we need to make some shots. You need to make some shots. And that's the whole losing bias thing, is like, sometimes basketball is literally just a game of you took that shot last game and you missed it. You took it this game and you made it. And that's how it works. And it's kind of boring analysis, but I do think that was a lot of what happened to Chicago. But I think they also just, getting something from Emma is going to be a big deal in the series, because in game one, it felt like Connecticut let Emma go to her own devices. And they've done this before. If you recall, in the 2019 finals, they said, "Hey, Emma, if you're going to beat us, if someone's going to beat us, it's going to be Emma." And not that Candace Parker's not killing them, but she needs a little bit of help. Well, last night she got 10 points from Emma Miesemann.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was in game one. And last night she got 14 points from Emma Miesemann. Okay. Efficient 14 points. Yeah. So I think that's huge, and that'll be something to watch. But obviously, I trust Emma. Trust the Sky. I think they're rocking and rolling. But we'll see. I mean, Connecticut is very up and down.
Yeah.
Very, very, as we talked about, consistency is amazing. I'd love to see some consistency from Connecticut. But one thing I want to touch on is Jonquel Jones. In game one, let me get her numbers. Game one, she was 5 of 8. Wow. Efficient, low volume.
Not a lot of touches. Yeah.
10 of 17 in game 2, 23 points. I mean, obviously they lose game 2, but I think getting Jonquel going is a good thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a key. I think after the first half too, I think they were still trying to get her more touches last night, right? I think, out of the gates, they weren't finding her. Like in the first 2 actions in their quarter court offense, Jonquel wasn't really getting her touches, and credit the defense on that too. But you also saw Connecticut be more deliberate and intentional with, we've got to go through JJ on this possession. They were getting her the ball, and that's why she had those 17 attempts. So she's got to take at least 17. I mean, that's got to be minimum to me. And that's not, when I'm saying that, it's not like, oh, you want her to be, ball hog. I'm like, no, like the ball needs to go through her, because the defense morphs in different ways when she gets touched. So it's not necessarily that she needs to take that shot. She needs to get those touches. And I think people, are like, just put the ball in there and it's a black hole and forget about it. No, it makes the defense adjust. It makes the defense rotate. Now you can make some moves. Is it going to be for her shot? Sometimes it will be, which will be great, right? Because we want her to get more shots up. But at the same time, see what the defense does if you get it to her. If you go empty possessions in terms of getting her a touch, regardless of where it is, right? It could be on the outside, it could be in the paint, mid-range. She needs the ball. because the defense is going to adjust to where she is with it. And they need to make reads out of it. So I think they did a good job of getting her the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I want to see her be more aggressive. I want to see her in the role that Stewart's in for Seattle. I mean, Stewart will just get the ball at the elbow. She'll get the ball at the she'll get the ball wherever, and then she'll create her own shot.
That's what I'm saying.
I think Jonquel needs to be able to create her, and I think Jonquel is capable of it.
Right,
and we've seen her do it.
Yeah,
it's just not happening in their flow of the offense. And like we were just mentioning, right, the best adjustments are when you can. It's not a specific set play. It's when you can just adjust your offense to get a better look for someone. That's what Connecticut needs to do, because I think a lot of her shots, and I have to look at them, a lot of her shots probably come off set plays. I know they run, they usually run a stagger for her or a pin down for her to start the game. And so I like to see her just get more opportunities to cook with the ball. Get her the ball in the high post, maybe a little high-low action, or just clear out. Just clear. You know what? Never mind. Get out of the way. Let Jonquel go to work. If she just needs to face up and do, kind of watch what Stewie and watch what Candace is doing to you on the other end, and then just do that. And I think they can definitely work that into their offense. I don't think that would be a big change, but they haven't done it so far. And we'll see. I think all this series is going to come down to is DeWanna Bonner making shots. Is Alyssa Thomas, getting out in transition? Are those things happening? Those are the big questions. But if Jonquel can go off and kind of do what those other two great players in that series are doing, or what the great player on the other side is doing, then you have a much better chance, I think.
Right, and how they're getting their shots. Right. It's not go get a bucket. It's not like that. It's let's create the spaces on the offensive end, through a set or not. Like, is it 4 out, 1 in? Let's do that. Okay, well, then do it, right? Yeah. Feed her the ball. Let her make a read with it, right? If they collapse on her, let her make a read. And then Bonner, if that's your side, kick it out, right? And hit that shot. Like, you got to make those rhythm shots. You got to make those reads. You got to play together. And not that I'm not saying they're not playing together, but I'm just saying, even in a 4 out, 1 in situation, it's not just for Jonquel to shoot it. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
you still have to play together. You got to make a read, and you have to be ready to knock that shot in. Like, you got to be shot ready, because maybe they will bump off somebody or shadow down, right? And you got to be able to make that read and make those shots.
Yeah, I think that's the read and playmaking part of it is something that Jonquel can get better at, and she'll need to develop that. But I think for now, she can definitely, like you're saying, create the space for her and let her go to work, and then she'll figure it out.
Right. And the rest of the team will too. Like, it's got to be everybody. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's got to be on the same. Everybody got to be on the same page.
Of course.
With it.
No, and I think this series, though, if I had to guess, is I picked Chicago. I think you picked Chicago as well.
I did.
And you picked Vegas on the other side, right?
I did.
Yes, I picked Seattle on the other side.
You did.
I haven't changed my mind. I'm sure you.
I was going to ask you why you're asking. I was like, you flip flopping?
No, I haven't changed my mind. I think I said Sky in 4. Yeah. I'd probably say Sky in 5 now, but I'm feeling okay about 4. If I had to stick with it, I'd say Sky in 4. It's fine. And I think I said Storm in 5. That one's going 5.
Sure. I said both in 5, and I thought the Vegas Storm game would be a buzzer beater.
Yeah.
Right? Or I wanted it to be.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, game 5.
For Chicago, what did I say? 5 games. I said 5 games, and Quigley on the free throw line to win it with no time on the clock. I
think she'll do that in game 4.
I like the dramatics. So clearly.
Yeah, no, I'm
the dramatics.
I'm still good. I'm still good with my Storm in 5. Winning over there. They already got one in Vegas. They know what to do.
They did.
Man, that place is gonna be rocking though for a game 5. Seattle is gonna be rock. This great home courts here in the semis. Great everything. This is just this is my favorite, I think, semifinal we've had.
Yeah. I mean, it's just incredible to see the fans locked in and just, losing their minds, especially in the Vegas game. You could see everyone, they got some great shots of fans in that game. And right there on the sidelines, you could see during the game, fans were up when big shots, like I think when Asia hit that 3, like that whole row right there in front of the Aces bench on the sideline, that whole row was up, like screaming and yelling. you can't. I mean, that's just something you can't quantify that. That's just the passion that the fans have for the WNBA and what Kathy Engelbert has been able to do, you know, in her tenure as well, just to recreate, redevelop, and set it up like this, you know.
So I'm looking at the semifinals in the past few years. Obviously, very different. This is probably the best matchups. I mean, last year was super fun and ended up being super fun, but it wasn't something we thought was going to be as good. I would say, I don't know, 2018 was super fun. I remember the 2018 playoffs with the Mystics and Dream going 5, and then the Storm and Mercury going 5. That was super fun. 2018.
That was.
Yeah. So I'm yeah, this is good. This one's probably the best one, I would say. I think my take on that is correct, and we'll see how it gets going, and we'll obviously talk about all of this next week. Do you want to make I won't make you make a prediction for game 3 unless you want to. You got feel?
I do. Let's just do it because
let's do it.
Now that you put it out there, I'm gonna be thinking about it all day if I don't just get it out. So I'm just saying.
All right, what is it? So which one do you want to start?
Oh, you asked me first, and then how are we gonna do it?
All right, let's do Vegas Seattle game 3. Let me I'll pull up let's do this official spread the floor like
okay.
Our betting channel. You should go check it out. We've been doing a lot of stuff. Man, this is on Sunday.
Yeah, they have a stretch of days in between.
This is lovely. My anniversary is this weekend, so.
Oh, happy anniversary, y'all!
Yeah. Although on Sunday is the actual day we're gonna go to dinner, but it's fun. We see each other.
Like,
we see each other.
Game on your lap at dinner and be like,
oh yeah, Emily's cool. Emily's gotten really into this particular playoffs.
Put it on the table.
She'll
watch it and have dinner. And
yeah, we'll find a place to watch.
I love it.
We ain't that fancy. All right, we'll start all good stuff. All right, okay. 1 p.m. ESPN2 on Sunday. Sky at Sun. Christy, Connecticut is a 1-point underdog. I don't think that matters to you. You can just pick who's gonna win.
I don't go with the numbers. I go with feel.
I
feel that Chicago's gonna win.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be by more than 1 point.
Okay.
I just think they found their mojo in game 2. I think game 1 caught them like, whoa, off guard, Matrix movie, like, and then they got themselves gathered up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Chicago wins game 2.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if Connecticut wins. I'd be a little surprised though. I think Chicago has something that's going on well. And I think game 4 is gonna be really interesting because if you've lost 2 straight, it's hard to be a team 3 times in a row, especially a team as good as Connecticut. So game 4 would be really interesting in that series, but I'm with you. So I'm with you. Chicago wins game 3. 3 p.m. on ABC, big channel, baby. Aces at Storm. The Storm are currently a 1-point favorite.
1 point each of these games.
Yeah.
That's silly. Wow.
Dano's taking your Chicago Sky to win.
Oh man. Oh, that's a tough one because man, Seattle is a tough place to play, baby. Like, but Vegas was too. So I'm like, no shade. Oh, let's go. Let's go overtime.
OT, calling the OT
for the Aces. Because I have an inkling that Dearica Hamby is going to make her presence, and that's going to be the difference maker. And the only reason I'm saying overtime is because they've got to reacclimate her in.
Let me see.
And that may take a couple of possessions, and they may be a little disjointed a couple times, and that may cost them down the stretch or something like that, and force OT. But I think they'll have it all together for OT and get that.
I'm looking on FanDuel to see how if we can bet on there being overtime at the moment.
Oh,
let's see.
Put $1 down for me and then get me when you see me. If I win.
I cannot bet on that yet.
Win if I put $1 on it. Okay.
You'll get a lot. I think it's usually like in the plus.
Okay.
In the big plus ranges.
Get my nails.
I don't see it yet. That's not on FanDuel.
Oh.
Someone tell me. All right. Jessica agrees with you. Chiquita agrees with you. So it's they love I feel like our streams are always Aces and South Carolina heavy. Weird how those 2 teams good. I mean, Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird that they go together. I will make my pick.
Okay.
Dano points out you can live line overtime for sure. So
Oh.
I'm gonna live line it originally, and then hopefully that pays for courtside dinner. It'll help. It'll help pay for courtside Paris 2024.
Courtside Paris.
All right, I've been dodging because I don't want to pick.
I see.
I think I'm picking the Aces too. And this isn't because I think they're gonna win. I don't know who's gonna win. I have no inkling whatsoever. But I'm just like, if the Storm win game 3, they're not losing game 4. They're not. At home?
I agree.
Sue Bird, she ain't losing that game. So I think for this series to go 5, the Aces are gonna have to win this game. I think they know that. And I think they'll come out with a lot of heat. And Dano says he's gonna bet the overtime for you, Christy. So I do have to
my Cash App so I can get my nails and my hair and stuff done.
No, we're gonna get Christy on spread the floor soon.
I don't know. I'll try it. I will try it, but
no. Yay, we did it. All right. We should talk briefly about defensive awards. I do not. I have to go soon because my wife is coming in on a plane, and you don't want to not pick up your wife on the weekend of your anniversary.
Yeah, no, that's no.
Or never. Don't ever leave your wife at the airport. I was
gonna say that's never ever. Don't do that. Yeah.
She made me take an Uber the other week, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, sometimes you get caught up.
She had a call. I schedule my calls around her, but apparently her law firm doesn't want to do it. A'ja Wilson wins Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I'm interested in hearing your take after our conversation last week where you said best player on the best team. Hypothetically, this should be best defensive player on the best defensive team. I kind of think I know where you voted. But this was a little fishy to me, not because I don't think A'ja Wilson's amazing defensively, but I don't know if I would have gone with her for Depot. So who'd you vote for, and what do you think of A'ja winning it?
I voted for Cloud because she was the leader defensively for the Mystics. And I know people may, watching right now, well, the Mystics aren't even in the semifinals. Like, blah, 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 blah. Okay. This voting was for the regular season. Okay, so all y'all, if anybody makes a comment, Gabe, let me know. Just
no one's gonna make
the arena and shush them down.
Our fans are very much on our side.
And do it to Kimbe
sometimes.
So stop. So it's for the regular season, but I think when you look at Natasha Cloud's full body of work defensively all season long, her floor game, her ability to basically switch 1 through 4, at least 1 through 3. Regularly every single night and give you the flat out blues. I thought that she was the one. I thought Sykes did well too. I thought Candace Parker for Defensive Player of the Year last year, not to make a team, was a little shocking, but I love A'ja Wilson and I'm always good for, I love a good block. I mean, she averaged 1.9 blocks a game. So she was definitely a rim protector. And I think we discussed that last week. So I'm not saying she shouldn't have gotten it. But she was definitely on the list for me. But I put Cloud. I mean, number one defensive rating, and she was the main reason why on that. So
so Natasha Cloud actually got 2 votes, which I think is right. Sylvia Fell's got
okay.
Who else?
I know.
Hey, who else out there voted for?
And
I figured out who else voted for at least one other vote for Shakira Austin.
Okay.
I won't reveal. I don't know if that person said that yet, so I will wait for that person to reveal themselves. But I did find out one other vote for Shakira Austin. I think she only got 2, so I think I figured that out. Natasha Cloud got two votes, and I don't disagree with that. She was on my list. I didn't have A'ja at the top, just because Asia's her team's defense was 6th or 7th this year, 7th in her hoop stats, 6th in the defensive rating for the WNBA stats website. I just think that's a little low, right? Like I wouldn't vote for an MVP on a team that finished 6th, right? I think there has to be a certain level of how good your defense is that you have to vote above it. And this would be our conversation when we get to MVP. We don't have to get into
okay, because I was about to say, boy, we're slipping down.
No, this has been my position throughout.
Okay.
There's a certain level that you have to be at. And in the past since 2010, there's been no defensive player of the year that has won this award while being worse than 4th on team defensive rating.
Wow.
So, I
great.
think Asia made that defense, brought them from being terrible to being pretty good, and her on-off numbers are a huge difference. I think they have like a 98 defensive rating.
Yeah,
it's great.
Major.
I would lean more towards Breanna Stewart. I thought she made that defense go from good to great. I think Alyssa Thomas has a great case as well.
Yeah,
I'd probably have I would probably have Stewart, Thomas, Wilson, Cloud would be my
okay.
Pick. If I had to, but you can't. That's the thing here too, is like you don't have a voting sheet, right? It's only one. You only pick one person, right?
Right. Well, no, you have a sheet. You have to do first and second team. You do defense.
No, I'm talking about for just depot, just defensive player of the year. You only pick one person, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Which I think I would love to see the voting breakdowns, but I'm fine with it. I don't think it's like terrible. It's just I would probably give it to Stewart or Thomas. But we'll see. All defensive first team, as you were mentioning, I'll read off all the teams so people can see them. 2 Washington Mystics, which is probably the biggest argument against Natasha Cloud getting a defensive player of the year. But Natasha Cloud, Ariel Atkins as your guards on all defense. Down low, you got Wilson, Stewart, and Fowles. I have thoughts. I have many thoughts.
Many thoughts.
Second team, Brittany Sykes, Gabby Williams, Alyssa Thomas, Jonquil Jones, Ezzy Magwagor. I would have all of those players on a team.
Right.
Can I say one thing?
No.
Before I have to go.
No, absolutely.
I have one thing to say. I love Sylvia Fowles.
I do too.
Love her. Amazing career. Legend of this game. Great defensive season, frankly. They had a really good season.
Yeah.
Don't think she belongs on either of these lists. I would not have her on all defense first or second. And I think it's insane. And the Kai's Duncan already made this point on the Basketball News. Okay. There's no logical argument for Candace Parker to not be on an all defensive team.
Agreed.
I don't think there's a logical argument for her not being on an all defensive first team.
Agreed.
But she had to be on the team, and she was not on either of these teams.
Yeah.
I have no clue why, and people need to answer for it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you had her on one of these teams.
I did.
Okay. So other people need to answer to me as to why Candace Parker was not on your all defensive list, because I think it's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. I mean, how do you go from defensive player of the year last year?
Fowles won the last year.
Oh wait, so it's 2 years
Parker won in the bubble.
COVID year. COVID year,
it's
just ruining everything. Anyway, but she did win it before. Okay.
Yeah. And she's Candace freaking Parker, man.
Recently. Okay. But still, I'm like, how does she not get on one? I don't know. Like, what else she has to do? I don't know what else she has to do. And then you're looking at all 10 of the players. Who do you take off? And I know you said Fowles, but you guys watching, like, who would you take off out of the 10 players? Like, who would you take off the list to put Parker in for?
Well, I would put Parker on first team. So anyone below her, anyone on second team, I'll take off.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Anyone second team, I'll take off. Fowles is probably the player I'd leave off the list completely. I think Ezzy, there's a pretty good argument that Ezzy by the end of the year was not, at that. I mean, she's played great defense, but I would say she didn't hold her you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to say that she's not. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm sorry for go ahead. Finish your statement. I'm going to let you finish.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out where my awards thing are. Oh, here we go. I found it. Okay. Let me tell you what my all defensive.
No, finish your statement. I have something on Ezzy when you're done now.
Okay. So, the other players I had on here, I may have put Alicia Clark on there too, but yeah, I would probably take away either Ezzy or Fowles. And then I would maybe put Alicia Clark ahead of, Sykes, but I'm fine with that. Definitely Candace Parker needs to be on this list. That is the most egregious exclusion. Yeah,
she has to be on. But with Ezzy, her minutes went down when Tina Charles came. So it's like, it's what you were saying towards the end. And that's the first thing that popped in my head. I'm like, well, you have to be on the court to be able to play defense. It's like she didn't get the same minutes as she was getting, right? Well, she was magnificent in the first half or 3/4 of the year, prior to Charles getting there. And not that, I mean, it's just the quality of the minutes she was getting. I mean, she's on the floor, right?
Yeah.
But her minutes dropped substantial.
And she's not playing against the starters either.
And she's not.
No, sometimes.
So, I mean, that makes a huge difference, man. And I get it. Shot blocking ability and rebounding ability, those are defensive things. It's not just your steals, right? Yeah. But you got to be able to board. You got to be able to, defend and protect the rim, close gaps. If you're a guard, you got to be able. I mean, just with Atkins, I think I told you that a couple of games ago. I think it was against the Fever at home, and Atkins did this coverage of a gap, and I just lost my mind. It was beautiful. I'm like, who? And she does it regularly, right? And just a staunch defensive juggernaut. The perimeter players here in DC have been. But I think just those coverages and how naturally so. Naturally so. They don't need to be reminded to be in the proper place. And that's why they were the top rated defensive team in the league in the regular season. So let's make sure we're talking about what we're talking about here is the regular season play. Yeah, no, it's
and hey, look, I'm not gonna be that mad about it, but I am pretty mad about it. I don't know how Parker wasn't on the list. I definitely think Cloud and Atkins are there, deservedly so. And that's so interesting because we said the same. I feel like we said the same exact thing last year, and it was just the rest of the team defense wasn't there. Now this year you add in those other pieces. Alicia Clark helping out a ton, just as being a quarterback of the defense. I don't think that's something you realize unless you're in the building. You look at Shakira Austin, who was a big help, and Elena Deldon, who played great defense this year. So, and Elizabeth Williams coming off the bench. So it made their job. It made them shine more. It didn't change them. And I think so they get their nod that they deserve. And I think Stewart and Wilson are going to be on this list the entire rest of the decade, if I had to guess.
Yeah. And I think, I think defense is will, right?
Yeah.
And the skill catches up. You got to have the will first. If you don't have the will, you're not going to get it done. So I've seen it. So.
I need to go to Reagan Airport.
Oh, you got to go.
I gotta go. So if we could take us out, Christy. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow and do all those great things, and you can follow us the things right there in our StreamYard thing. We hope you like our streaming, so just let us know. Like it, subscribe. Love you.
Comment. Yeah, love y'all. Hey, and happy birthday, Debbie Antonelli.
Oh yeah, Debbie.
Her birthday. Oh, that's my girl. Oh, big love. Okay, we don't have to go home. Gabe's got to get to the airport, but we love that you guys joined us today. Look forward to catching back up with you guys next week. More semifinals in the WNBA ahead. For Gabe Ibrahim, I'm Christy Winter Scott. We're out.
We are out.